Alrighty, g'day guys, welcome to another game of Legion TD on FBG. It's no challenge for this one, just feel like playing normally. Ghoul Archer? Is that a thing we can play? Can play Ghoul Zombie. Yeah, fuck off. Could just play it anyway. I mean, definitely shouldn't. Definitely could. So if I do that... I mean... No, there's actually no way. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. I wish there was a way, but there's no way. Well, it's actually really interesting. So I think I mentioned this dude a couple of times. YouTube/Twitch streamer named Jobs plays a lot of like Slay the Spire, which is like deck building roguelike. I like the game and I really like his stream. But anyway, he made a video talking about like Bayesian knowledge or loose Bayesian knowledge and how it applies to strategy games. And I thought that was like super interesting. I mean, I don't care. Sure, why not? I don't know what the fuck we're doing, it's already terrible, but, you know, I should have just kept the goal. Fuck. Whatever. Anyway, loose Bayesian knowledge and about how it applies to strategy games. So what loose Bayesian knowledge is, and I'm thinking I'll make like a whole video talking about this, how it might like apply to Legion TD. Because generally it's used for like more single player games where you have more time to make decisions, right? And those games tend to be like intactable, which means like there's essentially too much information or too many factors for like a human brain to realistically understand. I think Legion TD is really interesting though, because I would argue that Legion TD is a tactable game in an intactable setting. What I mean by that is I think there's not so much information in this game that it's impossible for a human to understand. Like every single factor that goes into every single decision, I actually think that's possible. At least in a 1v1 setting or a single player setting, maybe not so much in 4v4. But I think within the constraints of the clock up here, I think it is actually intactable inside of a game, which is interesting to think about. Anyway, I actually really want to do like a whole video going into this, just talking about it for probably like an hour. I'm really excited because that kind of thing really piques my interest. But anyway, maybe like watching that, and I might link it down below, just because it's strategy games in general. It's not super focused on anything. And this dude was like a professional poker player, right? He's got the whole background into that. I actually have exact gold for an upgraded archer, and if they send here, I'm like totally down to do something different. For 3, I'm totally down to mix like a drunk pirate or something. Sure. Yeah, so I'll try and remember to link that down below. I was talking about how like, so what Bayesian knowledge is like, based on my experience, you're essentially like making assumptions based on your previous experiences or previous experience, and then like constantly trying to reassess and criticize your own assumptions or understandings. So it'd be like, my experience in this game tells me that I am 99% sure that keeping the ghoul on level 1 and mixing ghoul with any of these units is worse than playing elite archer. Right? I'm 99% confident of that. But I'm not certain. I didn't bother to look at bounties. But it's like, I'm not 100% certain. But because I'm 99% sure, I'm going to play elite archer. Okay. I totally should have trusted myself. Why did I not trust myself? I did the calc. Anyway, no one's going to actually question me. Fuck, you noticed. Anyway. Yeah. Obviously I need to focus a little bit more if I want to play like properly, but it shouldn't matter too much. But yeah, so like, because I'm 90% sure I'm going to play Elite Archer. Okay, they have Blood Orc. Or I have a Blood Orc rather. Everyone else has 2 Sens and I just have 1 because I'm good and I deserve that. Blood Orc Horse. Blood Orc Bow? Yeah. Blood Orc Bow. Okay. But yeah, because I'm 90% sure, or 99% sure that keeping the ghoul is wrong and just playing EA, like, relatively normally is better, then that's obviously what I'm going to do. But, you know, sometimes I'll get in situations where I keep the ghoul on level 1, and then I reroll early and get in Elite Archer, right? And then I might end up mixing that, and then I see if it's good, right? Or if I see it's good, or if I think it has upside, then I'll like criticize my prior understanding. Or if I see someone else doing it, I'll criticize my prior understanding and go like, maybe I was wrong about keeping the ghoul on level 1 being bad. Now, in this situation, I don't think I am, but there's like a whole lot of things. Like one thing I thought of really recently is, if you're sending on 2 versus enemy slow kill speed, and you have 140 lumber to send, right? Presumably at least some of your team are sending double spirit for you to actually want to pull that trigger on too. But you know, not necessarily. And it made me think, if you have 140 wood to send, why don't you send Spirit Warrior on level 2, right? And I know it sounds weird, but if you think about maybe units like Sea Giant, Ig, like a lot of these slow killers, right, are slow killers because they have 1 primary damage unit, right? So you're sending a warrior with that stun chance is actually like, it makes sense. And warrior is an interesting send, right? It's actually really interesting because it scales with itself to some extent, right? And we can go into that probably in like that video I talked about in the explanation, because it's actually kind of long-winded. But yeah, you know, it's things like that. You know, previously, I guess it's not even previously that I was like 90% sure that that Ferb was better. It's just that I literally had never thought about sending a warrior. But then I thought about it, I was in the shower, right? You know, as you do, shower thoughts. It's like, Spirit Warrior. And I tried it and it was like pretty fine. But obviously I've only tried it once, so can't really say for sure like what is better, right? At this point, it's too early to say for sure. What's actually the better send? But I think it's really interesting, right? Because you have that spirit for the DPS. Ferb is like average DPS, so this is more damage overall. The stun from the warrior actually matters versus like single main units, like, you know, main unit Sea Giant, main unit Ig, main unit like single Grizzly, whatever, right? And then you also send 2 units, so you can get like an 8 unit send, which is generally going to be better than 7 units. It's just how this game kind of works. So it's just like one thing, right? And I was like, okay, so my previous understanding is, my previous understanding tells me that if I have 140 wood sending level 2, then I send a Ferb. Because that's just what was accepted as correct for years before Spirit was even existing, right? Now it's like Spirit exists, so... And the Spirit meta, or like the Spirit send on level 2, became a thing, right? Which is people applying Bayesian knowledge, right? That's all it is. People going like, okay, I want to try this. My like previous conception of what is correct is that Ferb is best because it's level 2. And I can't send a Blood Orc, right? So I send a Ferb. But then people tried Spirits, and they challenged their previous assessment of what is correct. And they found that in some situations, or in like some cases, or even a relatively decent number of cases, that, hey, Spirit on 2 is like actually correct. So now it's become like, now it's rotated. It's like against slow kill speed on level 1. we're like 85% sure that Spirit is, that Double Spirit is the best set. Which is really cool. And you know, this sort of precept, this theory really works when you're like challenging your previously held knowledge. You gotta remember, like, as well, this is a game with a meta. It's a multiplayer game with a meta that's getting updated like somewhat regularly, right? So the game is not sitting stagnant in the exact same spot for years. It has done previously, but it's not doing that at the moment. But anyway, we'll talk about the game for the rest of the video. I just wanted to like get into that to begin with, and we'll go from there. I should have just saved and gone fast 7-4 here, by the way. We can do that anyway. Just one Acolyte in the back and fast 7-4. Unless I want to stay 7-3 for 10. That's my team on 10. Yeah, if I want to damage, I can do it with 7-4. Do I want to damage? I guess I want to damage. I could try it. I should be able to just get a Butcher on 8. Terrible synergy with my line. Terrible synergy with my line. Can't just do it anyway, though. Yeah, fast 7-4 here, because I'll do fine with double Small Archer double tier 1. Can hold, if I'm lucky. But shouldn't be leaking too hard. And they scouted the scouted zombie already. We can definitely send a bit. We have good push. So it's totally fine to send a little bit. But we should wait for a scout. Okay, focus looks good. Damage share is even, killing a good number of golems. It's not going to be a hold though. My aggressive focus was not amazing, which is why I'm leaking. In the sense that the EA's basically targeted 10 different creeps between the two of them, and ideally you have them just focus down 5 at a time. But it's all good. The fucking rider. And we should definitely send a bit. No. Not a huge fan of giving free holds. Probably don't want to take the 7-5 especially since we're skipping. And I think again, I think since we're skipping, then there's just no future in me trying to hold 10. So I'll just build the whole day with EAs. And just push fast. Like, we're full kinging, so firstly, we have a pretty good chance of keeping 2 heals. Or like, honestly, we should just keep 2 heals like always. Which means me damaging 10 is less needed. Also, since we're skipping, we'll be a little weaker. And since I'm not like super fat, I would need to be... Well, since I'm not super fat and my setup on 10 wouldn't actually be particularly good on 10, it makes it a pretty low chance to actually hold. 2 kobolds is not actually bad for him, though. Like, 1 kobold is only annoying because of the increment. 2 kobolds is actually good. Because it helps him clear. Kobold isn't the fastest butcher killer. He'd do worse against, like, whelps and ranged damage sends. 1 kobold, yeah, really good versus butcher because it just deals a lot of attack and gets fat, but 2nd kobold doesn't do much. You'd rather have 2 kobold than kobold dark troll. Or kobold whelp. Obviously kobold's on the king, don't do that much. Assuming the KC actually hits them. And everyone's gotten pretty used to that. And of course the QO will change to make the kobolds get bigger as they get more attack. Really nice change. just for like quality of life for king control. So yeah, there should be 2 heals. They're upping a bunch of HP. It's not savable, just save the wood. Okay. Yeah, orange did fine. Realistically, you're pretty happy to just clear as butcher. Obviously you want to go mid, but you're pretty happy to just clear. What you don't want to do is leak like half the wave, but obviously he did not do that, which is good. Interesting question. Do I build more? Aqua's 7.5 already 760 value. I mean, he hits everything mid if there's lakes. Okay, let's just hold on this then, and try and get 7.6 like really early. Now, as red had a TOT, blue was yeah. Red had a TOT, blue had Disciple Rider, which is not generally considered an excellent mix, but it's all fine. Alright, like a couple of creeps, like 4 creeps as penance. I killed 2 more creeps and I have 7.6 already. Okay. But yeah, all 3 of our lanes have some chance to leak, some varying chance to leak on 8, so it's good to make sure that it wouldn't become just king leaks. But we can obviously count on double butcher, double Zeus to eat like 50 leaks in mid probably. Wow, 8 was actually just massive GG. Cool. Yeah, it's a real shame I don't kill 2 more creeps to click this button, but it's okay. We can click that button next level. Yeah, basically figured if I spend 55 gold on a tier 2 here, then I will hold more often, like I will kill more creeps because I spent 55 gold on a tier 2, but I will also never reach 7.6 during the level. Figured like this, I have a pretty reasonable chance of reaching 7.6 during the level, which is, you know, it's pretty good. Assuming that I would want to go 7.6 in the first place, which I'm pretty sure I want to go 7.6. Because I don't see a world where they skip 10, especially staying on 7.15 here. I feel like they send big 10 and it becomes a relatively fat mid-game at that point. And in a relatively fat mid-game, you generally are just happy with your archer lanes having push. That being said, still... Actually, I'm gonna do a Revenant instead. Normally I like an Archer a little bit further in front, but thinking about the rest of my role, these 2 with the Revenant, and the game being relatively fat, I'll probably just stay 7.6, because I'm expecting this to turn into a 15 game. There's like potential 17, right? There's a world where this... yeah, don't forget to add that. Yeah, obviously I calculated that on like level 2. But yeah, there's a world where this is like 17, but we can also just start leaks probably and then it's not. So it's most likely a 15 game, so we can build the Revenant early. And then obviously if it ends up that I need to be going for leaks for whatever reason, I can still just do that. Panda lock, verb mass, okay. Panda lock, verb whelp, mass. Okay, I leak a little bit, it's alright. I kind of prefer not to, but it's also just okay, so no big stress. Sometimes I hold, and sometimes I leak some low HP creeps. But yeah, with the tier 2 in the front I probably do better, but I figured most of the time I'll just hold like this, and sometimes with the tier 2 in the front I'll just leak a little bit anyway, right? So it is not an exact science, this game. It's all about minimizing the variance in your favor to whatever extent you can manage. Definitely strikes me as a full send. We'll get an Ambassador of Darkness because it doesn't make sense to skip building here since we have a mid. Your Ferb. I probably have to do it. Let's see if he wants to do it. Nice. Should it be me doing it? Probably. I would not bank. I think we just don't need to upgrade to King on 10 most of the time. Or we only need to do like 5 upgrades with, what is it, 11 regen and Thornmail. And 1 mid, presumably 1 mid. Pudge lock, they actually sound really big. Interesting. Okay. Well, we might need more king then, but we also probably take heals from them unless they end up with mids, which I think they'll have a hard time doing. Okay, we have a mid regardless, but obviously the rest of us do less damage. Because the send is relatively large. Surprisingly large, I think. Yeah, they leak 20 units. We'll just see how many lanes leaking that is, because obviously we sent a reasonable number of ranged units. "13 is an option. Into Tree, Disciple, Necros. I don't think it's a particularly good option for us, but if they lose 3 heals here, we can think about it. Don't think they lose 3 heals though. It is 10 bosses, so presumably Teal killed 2 and everyone else leaked 3. That would make sense based on the approximated strength of the lanes based on how the game has gone for them. Probably something like that is fine. Okay, they're going to lose 2 or 3 heals. They are not banking. We're fine. -1. We're fine. Even with Root KC. No, I'm just kidding. -2. If they lose a third, we can consider 13. I mean, we can always just see their units and make the decision, right? That's easier than deciding for sure at this point. But I think 2 heals probably a little difficult, especially since we did do some king ups. Not a whole lot. Not like an unreasonable amount. Send a commander, arena win, why not? Obviously I have the highest score because I'm the best player. I'm glad the game recognizes this. Okay, they have a 7-7 lane who, again, will not necessarily be a leaker, but will probably be a leaker. I believe I can also still leak 12, like this. I don't think I leak 11, but I believe I can leak 12 with split, if that's what the team would like. Rerolled into Warlock. Okay, Warlock and Pirate of Truth. Do not forget the Pirate of Truth. So the 7-7 lane built up to 1440. So he does not have to be a leaker. Looking at his lane, it appears that he will leak on 11, and then can decide if he would like to leak on levels after that. I mean, obviously we can just play 16 if that seems to be an option. We're quite a good 16 with 2 lanes EA and obviously 2 heals with Thornmail. We do win that arena quite handily, which is good. Go ahead and drop the patrol.
Research complete. That's a given. It has begun. By bidding.
Game is quite fat. Disciple had a good game, obviously. Got nice early push, I guess, from the level 1 into the level 3. And he probably cleared level 5 relatively well. Placement is odd, but whatever. Butcher, TOT, Ice Troll, Landmine. Okay. That's Turret mixed with Goliath. Okay, maybe he doesn't like 11 then. So we probably don't go 16. Looking at their lanes. Pretty sure there's no like outstanding reason why 17 is terrible for us. We send more. Our spell is better. And we can always just decide because they have like, I mean, either team can just take control of the leagues at any point because I kept the option, I believe I kept the option to League 12 with a split. So it's up to Purple if he'd like to like. And they're good 15 for sure, right? That's definitely like an issue, is they are quite good 15. Long game for us is fine, I would say. I don't think the game ends 15. We should also just see what they want to do. Uses free roll, gets excellent anti-15. So what that says to me is that I should actually go ahead and force 15 now. Because this roll is really insane on 15 and not that great anywhere else.
Enlighten me. I am prepared.
Sorry about that. Yeah, well, that was kind of an awkward little passage there. I believe it is correct for meta leak. Because if we now just... The game is basically fat enough where if we would like them to send 15, we need to make sure there are leaks every level. We can do whatever we want past that, but if we want this game to end on level 15, we need to make sure there are leaks on every single level. Do you think I'd build? I think I'd build one zombie and continue to leak. We can do what we want, but with this roll, I no longer want to play 17. I would now like to play 15. The nice thing is, I've still got a lot of value, so I can build up and clear 15. At least to some extent, which can definitely be relevant with fat lanes, 4 fat lanes, and 2 heals. See if I like here. Because they just hold it pretty easily, because value, and because units are reasonable for the 14. Also, I just mid here always. Okay. Do you reckon that zombie made this much difference? Probably not. The APD is not a mix I'm particularly familiar with. Here's the thing, right, about sending 14. He will kill some sends because Disciples and Minosaura. He will go mid. He will kill some Tuskers, and this will damage Sens because it's a long fight, and he will lick quickly. And then they will survive because 2 heals. That's kind of how that works. They don't need anti-14, especially Troll Champion on thingy. So that was like 20 leaks here from Purple, which means he is deliberately trying to leak. Also, why would I ever build a second PD? That is so terrible. It's like just habit back from PD when PD was like really good. Definitely incorrect here though. I'm gonna give the really helpful answer. Yeah. We can do whatever. 15 is completely fine.
Job's done. Job's done. My bidding. Out with it. Upgrade complete. Enlighten me.
Here's the thing. Wonder what you guys think of the placement. So decide for yourself, and then we'll talk about it in a sec. You can also watch it here. It's really good placement by him. Really, really good Warlock placement. So that's nice. That's like exceeds expectations for like FBG, honestly. Shows that like understands the units he's playing with and has figured out a way to mitigate their weakness to some extent. Yeah, reach Infernal if someone else covers. And if I don't reach Infernal, I can send a Maiden of Pain, and I love Maiden of Pain.
Job's done. Job's done. Job's done. Job's done. Job's done. My bidding, master. Enlighten me. That's a given. Upgrade complete.
So anyway, the way this placement works is Warlock's behind Aquas, 350 range, 375 range, so Warlocks have to like awkwardly path through Aquas, and they really have a hard time doing it. So yeah, it's never Infernal, but it is Maiden of Pain. Look, it probably should be 2 Warlocks, but I really like Maiden of Pain, so I'm going to send it. Because it is, you know, it's that Bayesian knowledge. So here I am like 85% sure that 2 Warlocks and a Frostwolf is better than a Maiden of Pain. But I'm going to choose to send the Maiden of Pain because I think there is some upside to it in terms of breaking individual lanes, and I would like to gain a greater understanding of the situations when the Maiden of Pain is good, and when the Maiden of Pain is not good, or if the Maiden of Pain is ever good. As you can see, we clear pretty easily because I am 3,800 value with 7/6 and like leaking 12. So yeah, it's pretty easy to not die here for us. So the Maiden died. Probably the guy who was 7-7 and immediately killed it. Yeah. And didn't do too well, but you know, that's okay. If your unit that is designed, if your send that is designed to break lanes rather than like hit the king goes on the lane that is 7-7 with 2700 value, then like, you know, it's not going to do much. Anyway, cheers very much for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe, all of that, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.